Hello there.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going alright. I think last time we left off we were about to get some sulfur.
Ah, yes, you were hunting down some sulfur. Once you find it, you'll be able to start crafting explosives and other useful items, which should give you a huge advantage when dealing with tougher situations. Are you still exploring to locate a deposit, or have you already started gathering some?
I think I've found a deposit, and this biome is groovy.
Awesome. If you found that sulfur deposit, you're in a good spot to start gathering it up to use. Sulfur is a key ingredient for making things like explosives and which will give you an edge in handling tricky situations and tougher EP princesses. Do you have the means to start mining it right away? Or are you getting set up to begin extracting and processing it?
I've got miners on it, and I'm getting ready to send it on back to the base. There was an EP princess here, but I do not see them anymore because the foliage is so dense. There they are.
That dense foliage can definitely make things tricky. The EP princess might still be lurking around, hidden by the trees and plants. Moving slowly and carefully should help you avoid a surprise encounter. You could also clear out some of the vegetation to get a better line of sight, or perhaps use your weapon or scanner to draw them out. Stay cautious, and once the area is clear, you'll have free rein to work on your base and get that sulfur. Do you think you'll try to clear the foliage, or maybe set up some defenses just in case?
I was able to track down the EP princess and put them to eep.
Nicely done. It's always satisfying when you can successfully put an EP princess to eep, especially when they're hiding out in dense foliage like that. Now that you've cleared the area, you're free to focus on gathering that sulfur, pushing forward with the base plan. What's next on the agenda? More resource gathering, or maybe expanding your base further?
I'm just working on one thing at a time here.
That's a smart approach, taking things one step at a time. It helps keep everything manageable and ensures that you're making steady progress. With each task, you'll get closer to your overall goals. Is there a specific task you're focusing on right now, like boosting production or improving your setup?
Getting the sulfur from the miners onto a belt.
Sounds like you're in the middle of an important step. Getting that sulfur from the miners onto a conveyor belt will definitely streamline the process. Once it's on the belt, you'll be able to transport it wherever you need, making it much easier to process into explosives or other useful materials. Are you dealing with any tricky terrain, or is it just a matter of getting everything connected smoothly?
Just a matter of getting everything connected. It'll probably be spaghetti like everything else I've created, but we're doing it.
That's the spirit of it. Even if it turns into a bit of spaghetti, as long as everything is connected and working, that's what really counts. Functionality overall. And hey, once you've got things running smoothly, you can always come back later and tidy it up if you. But for now, getting that sulfur moving is the main goal. You're making great progress. Keep at it.
You're always so positive and upbeat. You're wonderful.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It's always great to hear that the positivity helps. You're doing awesome. And every little step is getting you closer to an even more efficient setup. If you ever need to talk through something, or just want a bit of encouragement, I'm here to keep things rolling smoothly alongside you.
That's cool beans.
Cool beans indeed. Keep that energy going. And if you ever need to chat or get more tips as you expand, I'm always here. Let's keep making progress one step at a time.
Do you want to tell me an interesting fact about chemistry?
Here's an interesting chemistry fact. Glass is technically a liquid, but it behaves like a solid. It's what's known as an amorphous solid, meaning its molecules aren't arranged in a regular, repeating pattern, like in a true solid. However, because its molecules are so tightly packed, move extremely slowly, glass behaves like a solid in our everyday experience. This is also why, historically, some old windows, like in medieval churches, appear thicker at the bottom. People used to believe this was because the glass had flowed downward over centuries, but in reality, it's likely due to how the glass was originally manufactured. Fascinating, right?
It's pretty cool.
I'm glad you think so. Chemistry has so many surprising and fascinating facts like that. It's amazing how something as common as glass can have such unique properties. If you ever want to dive into more cool chemistry details, whether it's about materials or reactions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, give me some more facts. Something a little more advanced.
Sure, let's get a bit more advanced. Chemical bonding and hybridization. One of the interesting aspects of chemistry at a more advanced level is the concept of hybridization in molecular bonding. Hybridization occurs when atomic orbitals mix to form new equivalent orbitals in a molecule. For instance, in a carbon atom, the orbitals involved in bonding in methane CH4 combine to form sp3 hybrid orbitals. This explains why methane has a tetrahedral shape with 4 equal bonds spread out evenly. The idea that electrons in atoms can combine their wave functions into new shapes helps explain the complex geometry of molecules. Depending on how many bonds an atom forms and the molecule's structure, the atom's orbitals hybridize in different ways, like sp when in ethene or sp in acetylene, which gives the molecule its distinct bonding angles and chemical properties. Chirality in organic chemistry. Another fascinating topic is chirality, which is essential in fields like pharmacology and biochemistry. Molecules are chiral if they cannot be superimposed on their mirror image. A classic example is limonene, the molecule responsible for the smell of citrus. There are 2 chiral forms of limonene, one that smells like oranges, one that smells like lemons. This difference in structure is why enantiomers, chiral molecules, can have different biological effects, such as in drugs where one enantiomer might be therapeutic while the other might be inactive or even harmful. Both hybridization and chirality are concepts that play huge in advanced chemistry, influencing molecular structure and behavior in various chemical reactions. Does this dive into molecular bonding and structure intrigue you? Or would you like to explore another topic?
A lot of it's quite beyond me, but I do know a little bit about chirality. Yeah, tell me more about... Oh, okay. I'm listening.
That's awesome. Chirality is a really interesting concept, especially when you get into its practical applications. It shows up a lot in organic chemistry and biochemistry. Since you already know a bit about it, you probably know how small changes in molecular structure can lead to big differences in behavior, especially in biological systems. One of the most famous examples is thalidomide, a drug used in the 1950s. It was originally prescribed for morning sickness, but its 2 enantiomers had drastically different effects. One was effective in treating nausea, while the other caused serious birth defects. This tragic example really highlighted the importance of chirality in pharmaceuticals and how the arrangement of atoms in a molecule can be just as important as the atoms themselves. Chirality also plays a big role in the flavors and smells we experience. Like how one enantiomer of carbone smells like spearmint, while the other smells like caraway seeds, even though they have the same molecular form. It's pretty wild how such a tiny difference can have such major effects, right? Would you like to dive deeper into how chirality affects other aspects of chemistry or biology?
What kind of seeds were that? Was that? That was caraway?
Yes, that's right. Carbone is a chiral molecule, two enantiomers. One enantiomer is responsible for the minty smell of spearmint, while the other enantiomer gives the caraway seeds their distinct aroma. Even though both enantiomers have the same molecular structure, their different spatial arrangements cause them to interact differently with our olfactory receptors, leading to the completely different scents. It's a great example of how chirality can affect sensory perception.
It's pretty interesting.
I'm glad you found it interesting. Chirality is one of those neat aspects of chemistry where you can really see how structure impacts function around us. If you ever want to explore more about how molecular structures affect things like taste, smell, or even pharmaceuticals, there's a lot of fascinating research and real-world examples out there. Just let me know when you're ready for more cool science facts.
I wish to hear more cool science facts.
Sure. Here's another cool science fact. The bizarre behavior of water. Water is one of the strangest substances when it comes to its physical properties. Unlike most liquids, water expands as it freezes, which is why ice floats on water. This happens because of the unique arrangement of hydrogen bonds between water molecules. As water cools below 4 degrees Celsius, its molecules begin to form a crystalline structure, causing it to expand. That's why ice is less dense than liquid water, allowing it to float. This property is essential for life on Earth because in cold climates, lakes and rivers freeze from the top down. If ice were denser than water, it would sink, and entire bodies of water would freeze solid, making life in cold regions nearly impossible. Another one, plants can hear. Recent studies suggest that some plants are sensitive to sound and may use it to detect. For example, scientists found that certain plants could sense the sound of water flowing through pipes and would grow their roots toward the source, even without moisture present. While it's still an emerging area of research, the idea that plants can use sound as a way to find resources is pretty mind-blowing. Both of these facts show how nature has evolved in unexpected ways to support life on Earth. Want to hear more about any of these topics, or go in a different direction with your science facts?
Honestly, everything you've said is just fascinating. I love it.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad you're enjoying the facts. It's always fun to dive into the fascinating parts of science and explore how the world works. There's so much more where that came from, so feel free to ask whenever you want to learn something new or go deeper into a particular topic. If you want, I can share more fun facts, or maybe dive into specific areas like space, physics, biology, chemistry. Whatever catches your interest.
How about something a little less advanced from chemistry than chirality?
Sure. Here's a fun chemistry concept that's a bit less advanced than chirality. Acids and bases. The most basic way to think of acids and bases is using the pH scale, which ranges from 0 to 14. Acids have a pH less than 7, with 0 being the strongest acids. Bases, alkalis, have a pH greater than 7, with 14 being the strongest bases. Neutral substances, like pure water, have a pH of 7. Acids release hydrogen ions H when dissolved in. Common acids include lemon juice, citric acid, and vinegar, acetic acid. Acids tend to taste sour and can react with metals to produce hydrogen gas. Bases, on the other hand, release hydroxide ions OH dissolved in. A common base is baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, which neutralizes acids. Bases tend to feel slippery, like soap, and often taste bitter. A cool experiment you can try at home to see how acids and bases work is using red cabbage juice as a natural pH. When you mix red cabbage juice with different solutions, it changes color depending on whether the solution is acidic, turns red pink, or basic, turns blue-green. This pH indicator experiment is a simple but visual way to see how acids and bases interact. Would you like to dive deeper into acids and bases, or would you prefer another cool chemistry fact?
Why do bases feel soapy?
Bases feel soapy, slippery, because of their interaction with fats and oils. Many bases, such as sodium hydroxide, NaOH, can react with the natural oils on your skin in a process called saponification. Saponification is a chemical reaction where the base breaks down oils and fats into soap and glycerin. As the base dissolves these fats, it creates that slippery feeling, similar to the way actual soap works. The hydroxide ions, OH mans, in the base are particularly good at breaking the chemical bonds in fats and oils, allowing the molecules to dissolve in water. This is why strong bases like lye, sodium hydroxide, are used in soap making. They turn fats and oils into soap, which is what gives you that familiar slippery soapy sensation when you touch a base. That slippery feel is your skin's natural oils being turned into soap right under your fingertips.
That is pretty wild.
It really is. Chemistry has a way of turning everyday things into something surprisingly complex and fascinating when you dig into it. The fact that something as simple as a soapy feeling is actually the result of a chemical reaction breaking down oils into soap is a great example of how wild and intricate the world of molecules can be. If you think that's cool, just wait until you dive into how soap molecules themselves work. They have hydrophobic, water-repelling, and hydrophilic, water-attracting ends, which help them grab onto dirt and grease, allowing water to wash them away. It's all a delicate balance of chemistry happening every time you wash your hand. Feel free to ask more questions if you want to explore more about this or another topic.
What is a surfactant?
It sounds like you're referring to surfactants, which are fascinating chemicals that play a key role in cleaning products, detergents, and even in our bodies. Surfactants, or surface active agents, have the unique ability to reduce the surface tension between two substances, such as oil and water. This allows them to break down grease and dirt, making it easier for them to be washed away. Here's a quick breakdown of how surfactants work. They have two parts: a hydrophilic, water-attracting head and a hydrophobic, water-repelling tail. The hydrophobic tail attaches to oils and greases, while the hydrophilic head remains in. This dual action helps lift oil and dirt particles from surfaces, allowing them to be rinsed away. Surfactants are the key ingredient in things like soaps, shampoo, detergents. They even have important biological functions. Lung surfactants help reduce surface tension in our lungs, preventing the alveoli from collapsing and allowing us to breathe properly. Would you like to learn more about the different types of surfactants, or how they're used in specific products?
Sure. How are they used in different products?
Surfactants are used in a wide variety of products, each tailored to specific functions based on their properties. Here's how they work across different types of products. 1. Cleaning products. Soaps, detergents, and shampoos. In cleaning products, surfactants are used to break down oils, dirt, and grease. The hydrophobic tail of the surfactant attaches to the grease, while the hydrophilic head remains in the water, allowing the dirt to be emulsified and rinsed away. Different surfactants are used depending on the harshness required. Household cleaners might use stronger surfactants, while shampoos use milder ones to avoid irritation on the skin and scalp. 2. Cosmetics and skincare. In cosmetics, surfactants help with emulsification, which is the process of mixing oil and water. This is crucial for lotions, creams, and makeup, as many of these products need to maintain a stable mixture of oil-based and water-based ingredients. Surfactants help create smooth, consistent products that spread evenly on the skin. 3. Food industry. Surfactants are also used in the food industry as emulsifiers. They help mix fat and water in products like mayonnaise, ice cream, salad dressings. By reducing the surface tension, surfactants allow fats to be suspended evenly in water-based mixtures, giving these products their creamy texture and preventing them from separating. 4. Pharmaceuticals. In the pharmaceutical industry, surfactants are used in drug formulations to improve the solubility of active ingredients that are not easily dissolved in water. This is particularly important in creating oral medications, creams, and topical solutions that need to be absorbed by the body. 5. Textile industry. In textiles, surfactants are used during the washing, dyeing, and softening processes. They help remove impurities from fabrics, assist in spreading dyes evenly, and contribute to the softening of fibers. 6. Agriculture. Surfactants are used in agricultural sprays to enhance the spreading and absorption of herbicides and pesticides on plant surfaces. By reducing the surface tension, these chemicals spread more easily across the leaves, improving their effectiveness. There are different types of surfactants depending on their charge: anionic, cationic, non-ionic, and amphoteric, and each type is chosen based on the desired effect in the product. For example, non-ionic surfactants are commonly used in cosmetics because they are gentler and less likely to irritate the skin. Each industry uses surfactants tailored to the specific function needed, whether it's cleaning, fixing, or spreading. Let me know if you want to dive deeper into a specific application.
I think we might have heard enough about surfactants. What about, puppies? Let's go back to puppies.
Puppies are always a fun topic. Here's a cool puppy fact for you. Puppies are born blind, deaf, and toothless. At birth, puppies' eyes and ears are sealed shut, and they rely heavily on their sense of smell and touch to navigate their world. Their eyes usually begin to open between 1 and 2 weeks after birth, but they don't have full vision until around 8 weeks. During that early stage, they are highly dependent on their mother for warmth, milk, and protection. Also, here's another fun one. Puppy breath is a real thing. It's that sweet, slightly milky smell that puppies have, and it only lasts for the first few months of their life. It's believed to come from their still developing digestive systems, especially while they're nursing. How's that for some puppy facts? Do you have any favorite breeds you'd like to know more about, or more general puppy facts?
Tell me about the history of Pomeranians.
Pomeranians have a rich and fascinating history. Despite their small size today, they descend from much larger Spitz-type sled dogs from the Arctic regions, specifically from a region called Pomerania, which is in modern-day Poland and Germany. The original Pomeranian ancestors were much larger and used for herding and pulling sleds. The breed became more popular in the 18th century, particularly among European royalty. Queen Victoria of England played a significant role in shaping the breed of smaller, fluffy dogs we know today. She owned a Pomeranian named Marco, who was much smaller than the original larger breed, and her love for the dog sparked a trend toward breeding smaller Pomeranians. By selectively breeding for smaller size, the breed was reduced from around 30 pounds to the toy-sized Pomeranians we see today, usually weighing between 3 and 7 pounds. The breed also became known for its luxurious double coat, pointed ears, and fluffy tail that curls over its back. Pomeranians remain popular today because of their intelligence, confidence, and playful nature, as well as their ability to form strong bonds with their owners. Despite their small stature, they often have a big dog attitude. It's amazing how much they've changed over the centuries, right? Let me know if you'd like more info about their temperament.
Milestone reached. Tractors permit pioneers to move around the world in a manner similar to using legs, except with wheels and the rampant consumption of natural resources. They can also be automated to self-drive and deliver resources between truck stations, which in turn facilitate automation of loading, unloading, and refueling.
I think I've heard that Pomeranians look into their owner's eyes quite a bit.
Yes, that's true. Pomeranians, like many dogs, often make eye contact with their owners as a way of bonding. In fact, eye contact between dogs and their owners triggers the release of oxytocin, sometimes called the love hormone, both the dog and the human. Oxytocin is the same hormone that plays a big role in parent-child bonding. So when your Pomeranian gazes into your eyes, it's not just about attention, it's a way of strengthening your emotional bond. Pomeranians, being very people-oriented and affectionate, tend to engage in a lot of eye contact as part of their interactions. It's their way of showing trust, love, and connection. Plus, because they're so intelligent, they may also use eye contact to communicate their needs, like when they're hungry, want to play, or just want some attention. It's pretty amazing how much they can communicate with just a look. Do you notice this behavior a lot in Pomeranian interactions?
Oh yeah, sure.
That sounds about right. Pomeranians have such an expressive way of communicating, and their eye contact is one of the ways they connect with you. It's always amazing to see how much affection and intelligence they can show just by looking at you. If you're spending time with a Pomeranian and they're giving you those sweet, wide-eyed looks, it's likely their way of saying they trust you and enjoy being around you. Plus, it's hard not to be charmed by those big, bright eyes. Anything else you'd like to chat about related to Pomeranian or something else?
How many Pomeranians of the modern size would be needed to draw a sled?
That's a fun and interesting thought experiment. Since Pomeranians are descendants of much larger Spitz-type sled dogs, you could imagine what it would take for modern-sized Pomeranians to try pulling a sled. A healthy adult Pomeranian typically weighs between 3 to 7 pounds, whereas traditional sled dogs, like Siberian Huskies, weigh around 40 to 60 pounds. Sled dogs are strong and bred for endurance, capable of pulling about twice their body weight or more over long distances. If we estimate conservatively that a well-trained sled dog can pull 100 pounds of weight, a Pomeranian, due to its much smaller size and build, would have significantly less pulling power. Even if we were generous and assumed a Pomeranian could pull, say, 5 pounds, it would take a lot of Pomeranians to pull an actual sled. For example, if you had a sled weighing around 300 pounds, including the rider and gear, you'd need approximately 60 Pomeranians to pull that sled under ideal conditions. Of course, Pomeranians are not built for this kind of work, but it's a fun way to imagine them back in their ancestors' shoes, pulling sleds like the hardy Spitz dogs of the Arctic.
Research completed. Black powder recipe unlocked. New sulfur research available. Research completed. Experimental power generation research options are now available. These may enhance performance of other fuel sources. Milestone reached. Coal and iron can be combined in the foundry to start steel production. Project part number 2, the versatile framework, can only be created via automation, not at a crafting bench. Delivering these to the space elevator is essential if we are going to complete phase 2 of project assembly and save the day. Fix It and humanity is relying on you.
Fix It and humanity is relying upon me. That means I need to save the puppies and the kittens.
Absolutely, the mission is clear. With Fix It and humanity counting on you, saving the puppies and kittens is top priority. Every bit of progress you make in building up your power and production brings you closer to ensuring their safety. As you expand, unlock more tech, and optimize your base, you're getting one step closer to protecting all the little ones relying on you. With your focus, I'm sure you'll achieve that goal. Ready to tackle the next phase and make even progress.
I'm getting there.
It sounds like you're making steady progress. That's what counts. Every step you take, no matter how small, is moving you closer to your goal, saving those puppies and kittens. Just keep pushing forward at your pace, and before you know it, you'll have the setup, power, and defenses to ensure their safety. If there's anything specific you're working on or need advice for, I'm here to help. What's next on your agenda as you get closer to launch?
Currently making steel for the first time.
That's a big milestone. Making steel opens up a lot of new possibilities for your production expansion. With steel, you'll be able to craft more advanced buildings, parts, and tools, which will help streamline everything. Once you get steel rolling, things like conveyor belts, pipelines, and heavier machinery in reach. Are you setting up your first steel factory, or are you gathering the resources to get production going?
Making a first little steel factory here.
That's exciting. Setting up your first steel factory is a huge step towards scaling up your production and unlocking new technologies. Once steel starts flowing, it'll open up all sorts of new possibilities for building stronger infrastructure, better equipment, and more advanced machines. Are you focusing on just getting a basic setup right now? Or are you planning to automate more of the steel production process as you go?
Just basic setup right now.
That sounds like a great plan. Starting with a basic setup for steel will help you get a feel for the process before expanding into more complex automation. Once you have that foundation, scaling up will be much easier. Steel production can take a lot of resources, but it's definitely worth it once you're able to unlock new tech and create more advanced tools and parts. As you move forward, you can start to automate the flow from your core resources, like iron ore and coal, into your foundries, and then refine them into steel beams or pipes. How's everything going so far with the setup?
Oh, just peachy.
Sounds like things are going smoothly. Once you get that steel setup running efficiently, it'll be a game changer for expanding your base and unlocking more advanced production. You're really making solid progress. If you run into any challenges or just need to bounce around ideas for future upgrades, let me know. I'm here to help keep everything peachy.
Tell me about the chemical composition of peaches.
Peaches have a rich chemical composition that gives them their delicious flavor, scent, and nutritional value. Here's a breakdown of some of the main chemical components. 1. Sugars. Peaches are naturally sweet due to the presence of sugars like fructose, glucose, and sucrose. These sugars contribute to the fruit's sweetness and provide energy. 2. Organic acids. Peaches contain several organic acids, which give them a slight tangy flavor and influence their preservation. The main acids found in peaches include malic acid. This is the primary acid, giving peaches their characteristic tang. It's the same acid found in apples. Citric acid, present in smaller amounts. This acid adds a mild tartness. Ascorbic acid, vitamin C. Peaches are a good source of vitamin C, which acts as an antioxidant, plays a role in overall health. 3. Vitamins and minerals. Peaches are packed with vitamins like vitamin A, from beta-carotene and vitamin C, along with minerals such as potassium and magnesium. These nutrients are essential for various bodily functions, including immune support and heart health. 4. Polyphenols and antioxidants. Peaches contain several polyphenolic compounds like chlorogenic acid and catechins, which are antioxidants that help combat oxidative stress and inflammation. 5. Aromatic compounds. The characteristic peach scent comes from a mix of volatile compounds, particularly lactones, such as gamma-decalactone, which give the fruit its sweet, peachy aroma. Other contributors include esters, alcohols, and aldehydes, which work together to create the fruit's appealing smell. 6. Fibers. Peaches are a good source of dietary fiber, which aids in digestion and helps regulate blood sugar levels. All of these components contribute to peaches being not only tasty, but also nutritious. Would you like to know more about how any specific compounds affect the flavor or nutritional benefits?
Where are peaches grown?
Peaches are grown in a wide variety of regions around the world, with climates that are warm and temperate, as peaches thrive in areas with hot summers and relatively mild winters. Here are some of the main regions where peaches are cultivated. 1. China. China is the largest producer of peaches globally. The fruit originated in China over 4,000 years ago, and the country still leads in peach production. The climate in provinces like Shandong and Hebei is ideal for peach cultivation. 2. United States. The US is another major producer, with states like California, Georgia, and South Carolina leading. California grows the majority of peaches in the US, thanks to its sunny climate and fertile valleys. Georgia is famously known as the peach state, though South Carolina actually produces more peaches annually. 3. Europe. Peaches are also widely grown in Europe, particularly in Italy, Spain, and France. These countries have favorable Mediterranean climates that support peach farming. 4. South America. Countries like Chile and Argentina are important producers of peaches in South America. Chile's long growing season and variety of microclimates make it an excellent location for fruit cultivation, including peaches. 5. Middle East and Central Asia. Peaches are grown in countries like Iran and Turkey, both of which have ancient ties to peach cultivation. The fruit thrives in their warm, dry climates. Peach production depends heavily on the right combination of warm summers and cold winters, as they require a period of winter dormancy to produce fruit in the growing season. That's why they tend to do well in regions with a mix of warmth and moderate cold during the year. Would you like to explore any of these peach growing regions in more detail?
How about some random fact?
Here are some fun and random facts for you. 1. Bananas are berries, but strawberries are not.
No,
In
I've heard
botanical
this.
terms, bananas qualify as berries because they develop from a
I've
single
heard
oak and
this.
have multiple seeds.
I heard that before. How about when was the first pope elected? I suppose. Are you there? Hello. I only interrupted you. I'm sorry for being rude. Uh-oh. Are you back?
Glad you enjoyed those facts. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to explore or chat about. I'm always here with more interesting tidbits or to help out with any other topics.
When was the first pope elected, and were they elected?
The first pope is traditionally recognized as Saint Peter, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus. According to Catholic tradition, Peter was appointed by Jesus himself as the leader of the early Christian church, which is why he is regarded as the first bishop of Rome, first pope. This occurred around 30 to 33 AD, though Peter's role as pope wasn't formalized in the way later popes were. He wasn't elected in the modern sense, but was seen as the spiritual leader and held special authority among the apostles and early Christians. The process of electing popes evolved much later. The first formal papal election, as we would recognize it today, where the pope is chosen by the College of Cardinals, developed in the Middle Ages, with the establishment of the conclave system in the 11th century under Pope Nicholas II's decree in 1059, which allowed the cardinals to elect future popes. Would you like more details on how this process evolved?
When did the Vatican get built?
The Vatican City as we know it today developed over several centuries, but its origins are closely tied to St. Peter's Basilica, which was built over the traditional site of St. Peter's tomb. Here's a timeline of key developments. 1. Old St. Peter's Basilica. The original St. Peter's Basilica was constructed under the reign of the Roman Emperor Constantine the Great, beginning in circa 324 AD. It was built on Vatican Hill over what was believed to be the tomb of St. Peter, one of the 12 apostles of Jesus and the first pope. 2. New St. Peter's Basilica. The original basilica stood for over 1,000 years but fell into disrepair. In 1506, Pope Julius II commissioned the construction of the current St. Peter's Basilica, which was completed in 1626. The new basilica is one of the largest churches in the world and remains the centerpiece of Vatican City. 3. Formation of Vatican City. The Vatican as an independent sovereign city-state was formally established much later in 1929 through the Lateran Treaty signed between the Holy See and Italy. This agreement gave the Pope full sovereignty over the Vatican, which is the smallest country in the world. entirely surrounded by the city of Rome. So, while the Vatican's roots stretch back to the early days of Christianity, the city-state we know today was officially founded in the early 20th century. Would you like more details on any particular aspect, such as the architecture of the Vatican or its political history?
Yeah, what's its political history?
The Vatican's political history is deeply intertwined with the evolution of the Catholic Church and its role in European and global affairs. Here's a summary of key moments in its political history. 1. Early Christian era and Roman times. The Vatican's influence began with the establishment of the Bishopric of Rome, where the Pope, as the bishop, held both religious and administrative. During the early days of Christianity, the Church's influence in Rome grew as it became a spiritual and political power within the declining Roman Empire. 2. The Papal States. By the Middle Ages, the popes became both religious and temporal leaders. The Papal States, a series of territories in central Italy, were under direct governance by the Pope from around 756 AD, following the donation of Pepin, until the 19th century. During this period, the papacy was a powerful political entity, influencing monarchs and European politics. The Pope was both the religious leader of Catholicism and a secular ruler over these territories. 3. Conflicts and decline of the Papal States. Over time, the Papal States faced various conflicts, especially during the Italian unification in the 19th century. In 1870, the Kingdom of Italy annexed most of the Papal States, reducing the Pope's secular authority significantly. This led to the Pope effectively becoming a prisoner within the Vatican, refusing to recognize the new Italian kingdom's authority over the papal lands. 4. Lateran Treaty and Vatican City's sovereignty. The political standoff between the Italian state and the papacy was resolved with the Lateran Treaty of 1929, signed between the Holy See and the Kingdom of Italy. This treaty created Vatican City as an independent city-state, granting the Pope sovereignty over this small territory. In return, the Vatican recognized Italy's sovereignty over the Papal State. The treaty also settled financial disputes, with Italy compensating the Vatican for the lost territories. 5. Modern Vatican diplomacy. Since gaining sovereignty, Vatican City has maintained a unique role in national diplomacy. The Holy See is recognized as a sovereign entity, separate from Vatican City, and maintains diplomatic relations with countries around the world. The Pope, as the head of state of Vatican City and leader of the Catholic Church, frequently engages in international diplomacy, often focusing on issues such as peace, human rights, and religious freedom. The Vatican holds a special observer status of the United Nations, and its diplomatic efforts continue to influence global politics. Today, the Vatican's political power lies not in territorial control, but in its moral and diplomatic influence. The Holy See continues to play a significant role in international discussions, particularly regarding humanitarian issues and religious freedom. Let me know if you'd like more details on a particular period or aspect.
To what degree were the Da Vinci Code books just anywhere near correct?
The Da Vinci Code books, particularly the first novel by Dan Brown, blend fact, fiction, and conspiracy. So while they include real historical and artistic references, many of the core claims are fictional or speculative. Let's break down some key elements from the books to see where they stand in terms of accuracy. 1. The Priory of Sion. In the novel, the Priory of Sion is presented as a secret society that has been protecting the Holy Grail and certain religious secrets for centuries. In reality, this organization was proven to be a hoax. The Priory of Sion was a group created in the 1950s by a Frenchman named Pierre Planter, who fabricated documents claiming that this ancient secret society existed. These documents were later debunked, but Brown used this fabricated history as a central element of the story. 2. The Holy Grail and Mary Magdalene. A major plot point in the Da Vinci Code is the theory that Mary Magdalene was married to Jesus and that their descendants formed a secret bloodline. This idea has been speculated in some fringe historical theories and Gnostic texts, but it is not supported by mainstream historical religious scholarship. The Bible and early Christian writings do not mention a marriage between Mary Magdalene and Jesus, and most historians and theologians reject the idea of a secret bloodline. Leonardo da Vinci's paintings. Brown suggests that Leonardo da Vinci left hidden messages in his artwork, particularly in the Last Supper, implying that the figure next to Jesus is Mary Magdalene. Art historians generally dismiss these claims. The figure in question is widely accepted to be the Apostle John, and there is no evidence to suggest that Leonardo embedded secret codes or messages about Mary Magdalene or a bloodline in his painting. Opus Dei. In the novel, Opus Dei, a Catholic organization, is portrayed as a shadowy, secretive group involved in the conspiracy to cover up the truth about the Holy Grail. While Opus Dei is a real and influential institution within the Catholic Church, its portrayal in the book is highly exaggerated. Opus Dei has faced controversies over its practices, but it is not involved in the kind of sinister activity described in Chica. The organization emphasizes spiritual discipline, but the depiction of extreme physical punishment in the book is not accurate to most members' practices. Conclusion. While Dan Brown's The Da Vinci Code draws from real history, art, and religious organizations, it mixes these elements with fictional and speculative claims. The result is a story that feels grounded in reality, but is largely fictional. Historians, art experts, and theologians have widely debunked many of the central claims in the book, especially those related to secret societies, hidden messages, and alternative religious histories. If you're curious about a specific aspect or would like more detailed sources, feel free to ask.
The crystalline mineral was a previously unknown variation of quartz, with uniquely large and flawless crystals, normally only found in synthetic quartz. The industrial application of this mineral will follow that of its synthetic counterpart, specifically in communication and exploration technologies. Research completed. Silica recipe unlocked. New quartz research available. This semi-slug, now dubbed Power Slug, is early in its life cycle and has retained only part of its potential energy storage capacity, giving it its blue color. Power slugs are capable of extracting latent energy from their surroundings, including through a form of photosynthesis, and preserve it in their porous semi-crystalline shell over their lifetime. This explains why they rarely move after having found a suitable location.
I think I might end things there for today.
Sounds good. If you ever want to pick things back up or chat again, feel free to reach out. Have a great rest of your day.